Buckeye. I went and played college football in Columbus at Capital University, right down the street from Ohio State. So I watch all the Ohio State games, and I have been watching Aranda since when he was at Wisconsin from 2013 to I think it was 2015. So I kind of already knew how good he was defensively because he was doing it with Wisconsin kids aren't like Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State kids. So he was doing it. He was really successful there. Those teams are always really good. And then he transferred it straight to LSU, ran the same system, did a lot of the same things. Well, of course, there was a lot of changes that he made when he went to LSU, but he did it with completely different athletes. So the ability to play against more two back, more downhill rushing attacks at the Big Ten, and then flip over and play Alabama, Ole Miss, Mississippi State teams that like to spread the ball around. They have a ton of different athletes over there, all the speed in the world, and he's still able to run his stuff. That's immediately where my mind went to was the tight 3-4. Especially doing when I got the job and I started watching the film from the year before I was there, they had given up 49 points per game, and it really came down to spread teams, but they weren't throwing the ball. They were spread to run teams, and they were just running out the beat gap bubbles. They were whether we lined up in under or over, they were finding where the three tech was getting set to, and they'd run to the beat gap bubble. Whether that was inside zone was the big one, ISO, QB power, things like that, inside trap, all those things. So to me, initially, I was just like, well, starting out, we just have to take away everyone's plan A, which is find the bubble, run the ball to the bubble, which naturally went to the tight. So, but if you're going to play tight, there's a lot of different creases, off tackle, all that jazz, off tackle gap scheme that you have to get into different parts of the playbook. So I knew tight, but I didn't quite know in the beginning how Aranda problem solved later on with all the rest of his stuff.
Yeah, I'm friends with Nick Davis. He's the DC at Rose-Hulman. I've known him for a couple of years. He's been on here twice. And I find it real funny. Everybody's going to an odd man front defense. Like for us, I saw it 5 out of the 6 times. There was one team who ran a 4-2-5. So I asked him,